our journey. You could also just look at the overall course curriculum if you're interested in looking a little bit more in detail, but this is just at a high level. First, we're going to talk about Shopify. Shopify is the industry standard for creating online e-commerce websites. So I'm almost positive that you're already familiar with it. So we're going to be diving into how to set up our settings, how to customize our store, how to do certain functions in the Shopify platform. Then we're going to talk about lots of different applications that will supplement your Shopify functions. For example, we're going to have applications for email marketing, applications for dropshipping, applications for all other types of marketing, applications to increase sales and revenues and conversions. There's lots of things that we can use applications for. Then we're going to talk about sourcing products, right? I think one of the most important things when it comes to dropshipping is finding the right product. Everything else is relatively easy. But if you have the wrong product, it can be very, very challenging to become successful. So that's going to be something that we focus a little bit more in on. And then we're going to talk about the Dropified application. This is an app that we will be using to help us with dropshipping. Because dropshipping is a little bit different from your traditional e-commerce, we have to use an application to help with sourcing and adding products, fulfilling products, working with our vendors to fulfill products and shipping. So it's just an application that will help do all those things a little bit easier. Email marketing is just one of the main types of marketing next to social media marketing or Facebook marketing, SEO, things like that. And Omnisend app is probably the #1 app on the Shopify App Store right now. That's what I use. That's what most people use. So again, you're probably familiar with it, but if you're not, we're going to dive deep into it to really dissect it and how we can maximize that application for email marketing. Then we're going to talk about Facebook marketing, which again is another type of marketing that a lot of people utilize with their e-commerce websites. It's almost kind of necessary. Facebook as a platform is always changing, always evolving. So it is a bit difficult to keep courses up to date with Facebook marketing, but I'm going to do my best to do that for you guys. And we're going to dive into that as well. Then we're going to talk about free plus shipping marketing strategy. This is a strategy that many 7-figure, 8-figure entrepreneurs utilize with Facebook ads to sell large quantities of a single product. It's a particular strategy where you could sell something for free, but also make money off of the shipping. So we'll dive into that a little bit later. It's a really cool strategy that I want to share with you guys. And then lastly, outsourcing. I want to spend a little bit of time on that because, at the end of the day, the main goal is not to just be wealthy, just to make money, right? The main goal is to make money, but also have lots of free time. So unless you can finally detach from your business and outsource it, you will always be married to your business. You'll always be working 40 hours. We want to be able to put everything on autopilot and kind of step away from the business and make money while we travel and while we spend time with friends and family. And then there's probably going to be some kind of bonus section at the end. I'm still working on that section and what it's going to entail. It's generally changing a lot, but make sure to check out that section as well. And before we start, I do really need your commitment on something, and I'm very, very serious about this when I ask that I need your commitment on this. I need your commitment to take action. Don't just watch these training videos. Make sure to implement what you learn. The difference between someone that's successful and someone that's very poor is not always necessarily just the knowledge difference. It's about who is going to take action. You can watch 5, 10, 15 courses on dropshipping and still be unsuccessful if you never take action. Don't be that person that watches course after YouTube video and be overly prepared and have all these extensive outlines but never takes action. Just dive into it. And I want your commitment on this. I want you to promise me that even after today, after you watch a couple of videos, go in, maybe sign up for Shopify, do some research, look at different products. Just start. Just get your feet wet. Just get in there. All right, stop planning and start doing. Okay, that's going to be what elevates you from someone that is just a student to someone that has their very own business. All right, you have to learn how to make the mistakes yourself. Of course, these courses such as mine is going to help you significantly, but it will only help you so much until you start taking action. So I want your commitment on that. Even if at the end of the day, after watching a couple videos, you signed up for Shopify. I would be happy with that. Or maybe you looked on AliExpress, or you did some Google searching on what are some good products, or looked at some Google trends to find a good product for yourself. That's all I ask of you. All right, guys. A couple more things. First one is be patient. No successful person was created overnight. If it was that easy, everyone would be a millionaire. Okay, guys, manage expectations. It may take you weeks to learn and months to implement and perfect, but I want you to start taking action today. All right, you may not perfect it, you may not know everything, but I want you to start diving in, getting your feet wet. Remember why you're doing this. This is something that's important that I want to point out, because I guarantee you that you will run into challenges, you will run into hardships, you will run into roadblocks in your journey to become successful. Every single entrepreneur does, every business owner does, and it's very important to remember why you're doing it. Is it for your family? Is it for your wife, your husband? Is it for your kids? Is it for your parents? Is it so that you can live a better life? Is it for you to quit your 9-to-5 day job? Is it for you to be able to, maybe just purchase something that you've been wanting to buy for a long time? Keep all of those things in mind, because when you run into those challenges, you may lose some motivation. But if you can remember why you're doing it, you will always be able to push forward. You'll always be able to stay motivated. Okay, guys? And this is the last thing I want to point out. Always pivot, pivot, pivot. Even with this training, as I mentioned, you will run into challenges, barriers, roadblocks. Learn to overcome or bypass these to become successful. As Albert Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Guys, if you guys run into roadblocks, stop, think, see how you can overcome that challenge. Do a little bit of additional research. Don't just give up or try the same thing over and over and over, because I guarantee you will run into roadblocks, and it's up to you to be able to get around them. Okay, I'm going to be here to help as much as possible, but you're going to have to take some of that responsibility on yourself. You're going to have to be dynamic. You're going to have to be able to adapt. You're going to have to be able to kind of shift over, move, pivot, all those great things to overcome these challenges. And I'm sure if you do all those 3 things I just mentioned, I guarantee you'll become successful. I have no doubt about it. All right, guys, those are the 3 kind of pillars to become successful that are something that I wanted to share with all of you and be able to keep with you while you continue your journey in dropshipping. So with that, I'll see you guys in there. Talk to you later. Hey guys, so what is dropshipping? Hopefully most of you guys are already familiar with dropshipping, and that is why you're in this course. But if for some reason you don't know what dropshipping is, let me explain. Dropshipping is a retail fulfillment method where the store or the merchant, so you or me, doesn't keep any physical products it sells in stock. So the store doesn't carry any physical inventory. Instead, when the store sells a product, let's say on its online store, only then will the store or the merchant purchase the product from a third-party vendor or manufacturer and have the product shipped directly to the customer. So the third-party vendor or manufacturer are the ones fulfilling the product technically. As a result, the store never sees or handles the products or any physical inventory. Let me give you a better example that might make a little bit more sense. So in this case, let's say you have a Shopify store and you sell t-shirts on your Shopify store, and a random customer that maybe saw your ad on Facebook, goes to your website and they look at your shirts and they find a shirt that they like and they purchase that shirt for $30. After you receive the $30, you will then use that $30 to go over to your third-party vendor or manufacturer, the company that's actually making the shirts, and you will buy that shirt for only $8 in this particular case. You will tell the vendor manufacturer to, instead shipping the product to you, you tell them to ship the product directly to the customer. So the customer gets the t-shirt for $30. You get a profit of $22, right? Because you only needed to spend $8 to purchase and ship the shirt to the customer. So your profit is $22. So you are essentially making money without any physical inventory. You're not even responsible for fulfilling the products. All you have to do is purchase and tell the vendor to send it to the customer. And that is dropshipping, right? So what are the benefits of dropshipping? Why do people do it? Well, I think it's kind of obvious, right? The benefit of dropshipping is that there's no financial risk because you do not need to purchase inventory in bulk before you sell it. So in traditional e-commerce, generally you'll find a product, let's say t-shirts, you'll buy, hundreds to thousands of those t-shirts, you'll keep it in some kind of fulfillment center or a warehouse or maybe in your garage. And then as people buy that shirt, you'll then ship it to them. But in drop shipping, you don't have to have that risk because if you buy all those products, right, and your t-shirt doesn't sell, then now you have all this inventory, you invested all this money and you're not making any money. So it's very risky to do traditional e-commerce. But with drop shipping, you don't have to worry about that because with drop shipping, you essentially buy inventory after the product has already been sold and the money is already in your pocket. So the risk is much, 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 much lower, if not at all. So what are the downsides of dropshipping? So of course, there's pros and cons to both traditional e-commerce and to dropshipping as well. And the downsides of dropshipping is that you have to rely on someone else's product. So that means you're not manufacturing the product yourself. Sometimes you're not going to be able to tell if it is the most quality product or things like that. But of course, you can always have a product sent to you before you start marketing that product just to make sure it's in good quality. But at the end of the day, you're not the one that's going to be creating that product. So you have to rely on the quality of someone else's product. Profit margins are smaller, right? Because as you can see earlier, right? Although you're selling the t-shirt for $30, you have to spend part of that $30, $8 of the $30 to make a $22 profit. So in some cases, profit margins can be smaller than if you had just purchased a bunch of products in bulk up front. It can be a crowded market. I think more and more people every day are catching on to drop shipping. So it's a little bit more of a crowded marketplace, but that really, the way you can overcome that is by spending more time finding the perfect product you want to sell, being more strategic with what you want to sell. Don't just sell the first thing you think of, okay? Really think about it. And we're going to go into strategies on how to find the perfect product. Shipping times can be slower depending on where your third-party vendor or manufacturer are. In the case of this course, we're going to be doing a lot of drop shipping from China because products over there are very, very cheap and you can purchase one product and ship it pretty much anywhere in the world. So because it's coming from China, which is, if you're not from China, then obviously it can take some time for that product to travel to your country, wherever your country may be. I live in the US, so it does take, several, 2 to 3 weeks for some products to get here. So it can be a little bit challenging. It could be a little bit challenging, but I'm going to show you ways to kind of overcome those challenges. And then lastly, refunds can be challenging to handle in particular cases, depending on what you sell, right? Because you don't necessarily have a fulfillment center. So if someone purchases a product and they want to get a refund, how do you handle that? We're going to address that a little bit later. There's easy ways to handle that, and we'll go over that. So that's what dropshipping is, guys. There's a lot of main benefits of dropshipping, and it's really for those people who don't have a lot of capital. When I first started my first dropshipping business, I was in debt probably $200,000 to $300,000. So I didn't have a lot of capital to invest in a business. So for me, dropshipping was the perfect way to go because you don't really need that much money to start a dropshipping business. Where if you did traditional e-commerce, you would definitely need a lot of money to invest in inventory. So that is the main benefit of dropshipping. And if I was a guessing man, I would say that most of you are relatively young. Maybe you're starting your career and you may not have that much money in the bank. So luckily for you, dropshipping is a great solution for that type of scenario. So with that, I'll see you guys on the next video. Hey guys, I want to quickly just review some very, very important dropshipping key terms that we will be referencing throughout the course so that you don't really get confused down the road, so you know what I'm talking about when I use these key terms. I also want to just discuss and describe the overall setup that I've been using for dropshipping and that you will be using as well, because dropshipping is technically a broad term. And there's many ways to do dropshipping. I want to talk about how exactly we will be doing dropshipping. And I think this diagram is going to help us a little bit. So as I mentioned, this is a little diagram that explains how dropshipping works, right? There's a customer, they buy a product from your store for a particular price. Let's say it's a t-shirt. And then you then purchase that t-shirt from a third-party dropshipping supplier, a vendor, or a manufacturer. And you ask that company to then send that t-shirt directly to the customer, and you make the profit on the difference. In this case, you would make a $22 profit because the customer bought the shirt for $30 and you bought it for $8. And in our case, the way we're going to set up dropshipping, our dropshipping supplier or vendor is going to be aliexpress.com. You may not know what aliexpress.com is. Hopefully you do. I would say if you're interested in dropshipping, you've probably heard of it before, but if you don't know what it is, aliexpress.com is, I guess, in ways very similar to kind of the Asia version of Amazon or the Asia version of eBay, except people don't bid on things. They just buy it for whatever price is listed on the aliexpress.com. And AliExpress, just like Amazon, eBay, it sells pretty much everything you could possibly think of in the world. There's lots and lots and lots of vendors on there that sell all types of products, clothing, fashion, electronics. If you can think of it, it's on there. And because it's coming from China, it's generally sold at a ridiculously low price so that drop shipping can work, right? Because to do drop shipping and you want to have good margins, you need products that are really, really cheap. And AliExpress is based out of China, and they send these products to pretty much anywhere in the world. And that is why we use AliExpress as our supplier. Technically, you could do drop shipping with any type of vendor and supplier. And we're actually going to talk about how we can do drop shipping without using AliExpress.com. But AliExpress.com will be the main kind of source, the main style of drop shipping that we're going to be doing. That's where all of our products will be coming from for the most part. So to go in some of these key terms, first off, Shopify. Again, most of you guys probably know it, but it is a platform for people like you and me to easily create e-commerce websites. It helps you change the functioning, the setup, the design. You don't need any web design experience to use Shopify. It's pretty brain dead. It's very, very user friendly. I already talked about what AliExpress.com is. They're going to be the main drop shipping supplier or vendor for us. That's where we're going to get most of our products, if not all of them. I will also talk about ways you can drop ship outside of AliExpress or outside of China, because there is a lot of criticism with shipping times if you're doing drop shipping with AliExpress.com. But again, it's just very, very affordable. So it's still one of the best ways out there. Dropify. Dropify is a Shopify application. I should probably tell you what Shopify application means first. So just like smartphones, Shopify also has apps. And these apps are essentially different types of programs that you can install to your Shopify website to support with various functions like marketing, fulfilling, sourcing products, higher conversions, sales, all those things. There's an app for everything. There's hundreds and hundreds of apps. One of those apps is called the Dropify app. And we're going to be using this app because it's one of the main applications to help with converting your Shopify store to a drop shipping store. It helps with finding products, sourcing products, adding products, fulfilling products, editing products. It's a really, really great app. We also are going to use the Omnisend app. This is a Shopify application that supports with email marketing. It's I think right now, the number one email marketing app on the Shopify App Store. So I'm sure you've heard of it, but if you haven't, it's probably like, the gold standard for email marketing. There's lots of email marketing apps out there, but right now Omnisend is the number one app. So that's why I use it, and that's why I'd probably recommend it as well. But I mean, of course, you don't have to use it, but if you're like me and you base things off ratings, it has the best ratings and the most users, so that's why I use it. Facebook Business Manager, Facebook Business Page, Facebook Business Pixel. These are all different key terms that we'll use when we start talking about Facebook advertisements. Facebook Business Manager is your overall ad platform for Facebook. Unless you've ever run ads, you may have never seen a Facebook Business Manager. You'll likely have to create an account, and that's where you can manage all your ads, customize your ads, and things like that. Facebook page. I think everyone that uses Facebook has been on a Facebook page, right? It just means a page for a brand, right? You're eventually going to create a store. Maybe you're going to have a brand. And you want to have a Facebook page for it, because usually what will happen is when you run a Facebook ad, you can link that ad back to your Facebook page to give yourself a little more credibility. And then lastly is a Facebook pixel. This is a little snippet of code that would be added to the back end of your Shopify store so that when you run Facebook ads, it will keep track of every single person that enters into your store. It will keep track of what they do, what products they looked at, what products they bought, and that will help supplement future Facebook ads. So your ads get smarter and smarter the more ads you run, and your conversions should also increase. That's the magic of using a Facebook pixel. Anyone that runs Facebook ads 100% has to use a Facebook pixel. And I'm going to talk about how to install that and how to utilize it. Shopify apps, I already talked about this. I probably should have talked about it earlier. Retail products. So I'm going to differentiate retail products from free plus shipping products or F plus S products. So retail products are basically products that are always found on your store and can be purchased without any promotion. The majority of the products, maybe 95 to 97, 98% of the products on your website will be retail products. Essentially the products that customer sees when they come to your homepage or when they come to your website, right? So it's the basic products that you see on your website. Free plus shipping strategy, the F plus S strategy. Marketing strategy where you promote a product as free, but you make money on the shipping cost. Let me give you an example. Let's say there's a product for maybe a necklace that you can buy on AliExpress and ship it to the customer for only $5. Then what you will do to implement this strategy, you'll market that product as free through a Facebook ad. People will get excited. They'll try to buy that product. But you'll add shipping to the cost of that product for $10, even though the product is only $10 to buy and ship altogether. So whenever someone buys that product for free, they're going to pay shipping for $10 and you're going to make a profit in $5. So generally free plus shipping strategies are done with products that are very, very affordable, as you can probably imagine. And we're going to dive into that. This is a strategy that I've used to make lots and lots and lots of money. Nowadays, I think more people are catching on to this strategy, but it's still a very, very good strategy, especially when you know there's a viral product and the product is very cheap. F plus S product or free plus shipping product. So it's essentially products that you are exclusively selling by using a free plus shipping marketing strategy. These products are usually only sold on your store temporarily during a promotion. Okay, so these are products, unlike retail products, which are always on your store, free plus shipping products are only sold through a free plus shipping strategy, right? So when you want to sell a free plus shipping product, it's through it's when you're implementing that free plus shipping strategy that I just talked about. Sourcing products just basically means finding products to sell on your store, right? So we're going to go to aliexpress.com and we're going to try to find really, really good products. That is what sourcing products means. And a couple more key terms that you might see on the slides that as I go through them. Tips. Whenever you see the word tips, it generally means something that's highly recommended or beneficial to kind of keep an eye out for, to try to implement that. Please note or important, that's just me trying to point out certain things that I really want you to pay attention to that are very important that may impact you down the road. Warning basically means be cautious, something that can negatively impact you or something that can hurt you, not physically hurt you, but hurt your business in some way, something that you have to watch out for and avoid, hopefully. And that's pretty much it for this video. I'll see you guys on the next one. In this lecture, I just want to remind you that it is very, very important to always, always, always check if there are resources attached for every single lecture that you go through. Resources are like attachments, and generally that is where I'm going to attach important links, important resources, important guidance documents, things like that. And if there is a resource attached to a lecture, I will always point it out for you so that you know to check it. So whenever I say the word attachment or the word resources, or I say there's a link attached to this lecture, make sure to check their resources. And if you don't know how to check resources, it's pretty easy. So if you're a student, chances are your screen kind of looks like this, right? And as you're watching videos, the videos will show up here, and on the right side, you'll see that the lecture that you're currently watching kind of highlighted in gray, what you see here. And then you'll see this little box that says resources. You click that box, there should be a drop down with either a link or a document or some kind of resource. That's where I attach anything for a lecture. And again, I'll always let you know when something is attached so that you can go and look at it and download it or go to that website or whatever. But again, there's a lot of things that I share that are very important to your success, a lot of valuable things that I attach. So just make sure to always check it before you go to the next lecture. All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Shopify section of this course. This is one of my favorite sections because this is where you actually start building out your online store, your e-commerce website, where you're going to be hosting all of your products, and hopefully customers will come, they'll see those products and buy those products. And I would imagine that 99% of you guys watching this course or enrolled in this course already know what Shopify is. But if you don't know what Shopify is, Shopify is probably the most recognized e-commerce platform for creating online stores or e-commerce websites. There's other platforms out there such as BigCommerce, WordPress, and things like that, but I would say Shopify is the most recognized one. It makes creating online stores very, very intuitive. You don't need any web design experience to use Shopify, and you can still create a beautiful online stores using templates and themes and things like that. Also, Shopify has a lot of applications, and I probably talked about apps in a different video, but just as a reminder, Shopify apps are kind of like apps for your smartphone, right? So when you download an app for your smartphone, generally that app helps you with doing something, whether it be fitness, listening to music, editing photos, Facebook, things like that. Well, apps for Shopify kind of do the same thing. It helps supplement your Shopify experience. It helps with, fulfilling products, marketing your products, organizing your Shopify store, designing your Shopify store app. There's pretty much hundreds of apps for anything you can think of on Shopify. So Shopify is the platform I use. Again, it's the most recognized platform for e-commerce websites. So this is why I'm also recommending it for you. And all of the other programs I will probably talk about throughout this course kind of connects with Shopify. So Shopify is going to be the basis of our online store, if you will. And my recommendation for all of you is that you sign up for Shopify now so that you can practice what I teach you in all the different lectures as we go along, because we're going to be spending hours and hours of detailed lectures on Shopify, setting up your settings, customizing your website, adding in all the different applications. It would benefit you to have a membership in a Shopify store that you can work on so that you can implement all the things I teach you as you go along. What I don't want you to do is kind of watch the entire course, hours and hours of training, and then sign up for Shopify at the end of the course, because then you're just going to have to go back and rewatch all the lectures, because it's going to be almost impossible for you to remember everything I teach you, because there's going to be hours and hours of lectures. So what I've done to make it a little bit easier for you, not that much easier, but a little bit easier, is I've added a free Shopify membership trial link to the attached resources. So if you go to the right side under this lecture, there should be a link. Once you click that link, it should bring you to a page that looks something like this. You can click this green button here or the green button up here, and you can sign up for a free membership for Shopify. It's a 14-day, 2-week trial. After those 2 weeks are over, they'll probably send you an email or prompt you to sign up for a paid membership. There are 3 different membership types: the basic Shopify, the Shopify plan, and the advanced Shopify plan. It is really completely up to you which plan you want to use. They all are adequate for drop shipping. I would say the only major difference between the 3 that may relate to drop shipping is going to be the transaction rates or the online credit card rates. So if you have the basic plan, then they're going to charge you 2.9% of every, and plus 30 cents for every sale you make. Or if you have the advanced plan, then you have 2.4%, a little bit less, and 30 cents for every transaction that you make. So if you're planning to do lots and lots of sales, which I hope you do, but if you're planning on that and you have hundreds of transactions or sales per day, then use the advanced Shopify plan. Obviously, you're going to save money in the long run. This is what I use. But if you don't know how much transactions or sales you'll be making, then you can also use the basic Shopify plan. It is really up to you how much you want to invest in yourself. Either way, all 3 of them are going to be at least adequate for drop shipping. Okay, so hopefully that you sign up for Shopify and then you kind of practice what you learn throughout this course as you go along. It's going to make it a lot easier as opposed to kind of relearning everything later. So I'll see you guys in there. I hope you guys are excited. We're going to be doing lots and lots of stuff with Shopify, and we're going to start customizing your unique Shopify store and online website. See you guys in there. Hey guys, in this video, I just want to do a quick walkthrough of the dashboard for Shopify. So hopefully you've already signed up for Shopify. Once you have, you should go in and it should look something like this. What I've done is I've actually signed up for a new Shopify account so that my Shopify dashboard will reflect what you see as well. So let's kind of walk through it. The first tab you see here is the Home tab. Right now, the Home tab has a lot of things that we still need to do because it's a new membership, right? You have to add products, customize your theme, add domain. But once your store is fully set up and you start having sales, you're your home tab will look a little bit different. It will show you kind of how many transactions you've done, kind of summary of your sales, your revenue, and things like that at a kind of a high level view. Orders. This will kind of list the actual individual orders that are either open or fulfilled, so that you can keep track of your different customers and their contacts. Products. This is where all of your products will be listed. And, we're going to be talking a lot about collections. Collections are essentially different categories that you can categorize your products into. So for example, if you sell jewelry, you might have a collection for necklaces, bracelets, rings, things like that. Customers. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, just your customers. Analytics. Analytics will have a lot of similar things that you would see on your homepage, but a little bit more in detail. You can have reports, live view, things like that. Marketing. This is where Shopify might make some suggestions on different ways that you can market. They have suggestions on marketing apps, things like that, and other campaigns. Discounts. This is where you can create discount codes. For example, use XYZ code and get 10% off. You ever see those when you go to like some kind of e-commerce website? Well, this is where you can make codes, discount codes like that. And then apps. As we go through this course, I'm going to be talking a lot about different types of Shopify apps that I would recommend. Some are free, some are paid, but overall, if you have a Shopify store, chances are you're going to have a lot of Shopify apps attached to your Shopify store. Just like when you have a smartphone, right? Every person with a smartphone has lots and lots of apps, because those apps are going to help you with different functions in your Shopify store. And then lastly, online store. This is where you're gonna, under this sub-tab themes, is where you can choose a different theme or template for your website so that you don't have to do as much editing. There's a lot of free themes and also paid themes. I'll talk a little bit about those later. Blog posts. Certain websites, you can have a blog within your online Shopify store. I don't really use a blog, but blogs are more for brands, I guess. Like if you're trying to build a big brand, a lot of times you'll see these, different brands, they'll have blogs, and that's just like one of their avenues of marketing. Pages. Pages is kind of the different pages of your website, right? You have your home page, you have your product pages, you have your FAQ page, so on and so forth. Navigation will help you with organizing the navigation of your various pages, both at your main menu at the top or your footer menu at the very bottom. Domains is where you would connect a professional domain name. So for example, if I want to have Kevin Princeton shopifystore.com, I have to go buy that domain name, and then I could connect it to my website so that my website has a professional domain address. And then at the very bottom here, you could see all the different settings. I'm going to be going over the ones that are very important, or the ones that may be a little bit more confusing or not intuitive. So don't worry, there's a lot of settings here, but I'm going to make sure that we go through all of them. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. In this video, I want to show you how to set up your Shopify payment settings in your Shopify dashboard. Setting up your payments is basically how you set up how you will receive money from your customers, whether it be through Visa, through Apple Pay, so on and so forth. So first thing you're going to do is click the tab at the bottom where it says settings. It should bring you to a page that looks like this. Then you're going to click payments. If you're in the United States, your page will look something like this. I'm in the US, so this is what it looks like. When I sign up for Shopify payment settings, I only sign up for Shopify payments because, as you can see, it has a lot of different types of accepted payments: Visa, credit card, Amex, Discover, Apple Pay, Google Pay, so on and so forth. I actually don't set up PayPal for my Shopify stores. I do use PayPal for other things, but I don't use it for my Shopify stores just because sometimes, depending on situations, they can put a hold on your money or take certain transaction rates from the money that you make through PayPal. So I use Shopify payments. I think it's more than sufficient, especially nowadays where people use their credit cards for most online payments. So if you're in the US, you can sign up for Shopify payments by clicking this button here or this button here. Both of them will bring you to the same page. I'm going to pause real quick and kind of address all my students who are not in the United States. If you're not in the United States and you don't see Shopify payments, what you can do is go to Google. It's very simple. Just type in any country that you're in, right? So let's say India. Let's say you're in India and you're trying to set up your Shopify. Just type India Shopify payments. That's all you're going to do. Oh, I'm sorry, payment gateway. Right? Those 4 words. And you can just replace this with whatever country you're in. Then click enter. And you can see, skip all the ads, right? Go to this very first link that is not an ad. So this one, Payment Gateway India. Then you're going to scroll to the bottom and it's going to show you all the different types of Shopify payment gateways for India, and it's going to give you some resources on how to set it up. Okay. Same thing if you're in, let's say, China, Shopify payment gateways. Skip all the ads, go to the bottom right here, and it's going to show you how to set up your payments that are accepted in China. So I'm just saying that because I always get questions about this. So going back to mine, I'm going to now click complete account setup, or I can click it up here. It doesn't really matter. Once you get to this page, you're just going to completely fill it out. Again, this is what the page looks like if you're in the United States. If you're in a different country, it will probably likely look a little bit different, but for the most part, you want to fill it out completely. If you're starting your business all on your own, whether you incorporated your business or you didn't incorporate your business, you're still going to select this very first one, right? Individual sole proprietor / single member LLC. LLC stands for limited liability company. That's what happens when you incorporate your business as a limited liability company. But whether you incorporate your business or not, if you don't, then you're just called an individual sole proprietor. Either way, if you're a one-person team, then you're going to choose this very first one, okay? Employee identification number, or EIN number. You only get an EIN number if you incorporate your business as an LLC. If you do incorporate your business as an LLC, the government or the IRS will give you an employee identification number. That's, I believe, to keep track of your revenue and your taxes for your legitimate business. If you're not incorporated as an LLC or a legitimate company, then you're still a legitimate company whether you incorporate or not. But if you don't incorporate as an LLC, then you wouldn't have an EIN number, in which case you would leave this blank, and that's why it says optional. Then you would type in your address of wherever you do your business. Chances are you're probably doing this business out of your bedroom or at home. Then you would just put your home address. If you have an office, then you can put in your office address. Then you can type in your first name, your last name, your date of birth, and then the last 4 digits of your social security number. Because generally, if you're not incorporated as an LLC, then the government's going to keep track of your revenue and your taxes through your social security number. Business category or in product details, just fill it out, whatever applies. Let's say I'm selling, I don't know, iPhone cases, then I would probably choose retailer, and then I would choose hardware, equipment, and supplies. But as you can see, there's a lot of different options you can choose from, okay? And then you want to just do a quick description of whatever you sell. I sell iPhone cases. The reason this is in here, or why they want a description, is because if you sell products that are high risk, some certain payment gateways may frown upon that and may not accept you as a business. But if you write just if you're selling fashion or jewelry or iPhone cases, it shouldn't really be a problem. So just describe what you sell there. Customer billing statement. This is the way your store name and phone number will appear on your customer's bank statement. So it could be something random, or it could be something that describes the name of your store. For example, if the name of my store is iPhone Cases XYZ, I would just write iPhone Cases XYZ. And when someone purchases something and they check their bank statement later, they'll see this and they're going to remember, oh yeah, I bought something from iPhoneCasesXYZ.com. And then also your phone number over here. And then lastly is the banking information, the routing number and the account number, so that when you make money on Shopify from selling products, that money can then be brought over into your business bank account. So I want to pause here and talk a little bit about business bank accounts, especially here in the United States. So in the United States, whether you get incorporated as a limited liability company, an LLC, or you just, you don't incorporate your business and you're just an individual sole proprietor, either way, it is very important that you go to the bank and open up a separate business bank account for all of your business needs, all your business transactions, the reason for that is because at the end of the year, all the revenue you make through Shopify and all the expenses you make for your online store, such as your monthly membership for Shopify, your accountant will then be able to write off all of your expenses and easily do your business tax return at the end of the year. If you don't create a separate business bank account, then all of your transaction, all of your, all of your expenses and all of your revenue for your Shopify store is going to be mixed in with your personal bank account. And that's going to be really, really difficult to kind of tease out at the end of the year when you do your personal tax return. So no matter if you have, let me say this one more time. Doesn't matter if you're an incorporated business like an LLC or you're just a sole proprietor. Either way, go to your bank, open up a separate checking account and or credit card under that checking account. Okay? Because all the expenses you do for your business, you can write them off so you don't have to pay taxes. You can write them off so you don't have to pay as much taxes when you do at the end of the year. Also, your income tax return for your business will be much easier to do for your accountant. Okay, so, and if you are incorporated business like an LLC, then you're going to go to the bank and you need your EIN number to create a business bank account. If you're not an incorporated business and you're just a sole proprietor, you're going to go to the bank and give them your social security and tell them, hey, I'm starting a new business. Can I open a business bank account? It should be very, very easy. It's not complicated. Don't worry. It's a very simple thing. But no matter what, please open up a business bank account earlier than later. It's going to help save you a lot of trouble, and it's going to save you a lot of money on taxes at the end of the year as well. So with that, you're just going to click complete account setup, and that's pretty much it. That should then set up your Shopify payments so that you can accept payments from all of these different payment gateways. See you guys on the next video. Hi guys, in this video I want to show you how to set up your checkout settings, which seems a bit trivial, but it is very important. So to do this, you're going to first go to your settings in the bottom left, then you'll bring you to a page that looks like this. You're just going to click checkout, and then we're going to walk through this. So the first one is to turn on or turn off the ability to set up customer accounts. That's basically so when people go to your online store, for them to be able to buy something, they have to first create an account with your website, meaning a username and a password, and then log in for them to be able to purchase an item. This may be advantageous in certain cases if you have traditional e-commerce, but for dropshipping, we really want to psychologically reduce any barriers between the customer and them buying a product. So we want to make it as easy as possible. So we're going to turn off accounts, customer accounts. So you're going to click accounts disabled. And again, I live in the US, so my Shopify dashboard looks like this. My settings look like this. If you're in a different country, it may look a little bit different, but for the most part, most of them should be pretty similar to my settings. So the next one is customer contact. So to check out, customers can check out using either their phone number or email, or you could click this, customers can only check out using email. We want to click this one by default because we don't really want the customer's phone number, but we do want their email. So we're going to force them to give us their email, because then we can send them abandoned cart checkout emails. We can send them email marketing promotions and things like that. So we really want people's emails. That's because the more emails we have, the bigger our email list, the better our email marketing can do, right? Email marketing is something we'll talk about later, but it's a type of marketing where you use emails to market to your customers, send them promotions, send them holiday discount codes, things like that. To receive shipping updates, customers can choose to add a phone number or email. We're going to unclick this one, and then we're going to click this one, all right? Because we don't want them to have to download an app just to get shipping updates. So we're just going to do shipping updates through phone number and email, but likely it'll just be email because we basically just turned off the phone number section. Form options. So when they're checking out, they will have to fill out this given information here. So of course we want their first name, let's do first and last name just to make it sound more professional. I know we're trying to lower the barriers for them to buy something, but I think it's kind of weird to just ask for someone's last name when they're buying something. It seems kind of sketchy. So I do first name and last name. You're more than welcome to try just last name. Company name, I hid that. We don't care where people work. We just want to take their money and have them buy our products. Address line 2, I keep this optional. Some people live in apartments, so it's good to know what suite number they're in or what apartment number they're in. Sometimes people are in condos or townhouses. But some people also live in single homes where they live in an independent home, and that's why this is optional. But we do not want to hide it, because if we hide it, then we're not going to know how to send a product to a customer who lives in an apartment. Shipping address, phone number. I'm just going to keep this hidden because, again, we don't really need the phone number for anything. Show tipping options at checkout. This is really more for services that you may sell, but because we're drop shipping physical products, we're going to leave that unchecked. Um, while the customer is checking out, use the shipping address as the billing address. I usually will always want to click this because it's going to make filling out the address a little bit easier for the customer, right? The shipping address is where you ship the product to. The billing address is the address that is associated with a person's credit card or debit card. So generally those two addresses are the same, right? Because people will buy something and they want the product for themselves. The only time those would be different is if someone buys something and they want to buy it for a friend, like as a gift. But for the most part, we want to pre-populate that just to make the checkout process easier for our customers. Because like I would say 95% of the time, people are buying stuff for themselves. Enable address auto completion. So as you guys probably have experienced this before, sometimes when you're checking out, your address will your address, if you use the same address all the time when you're buying stuff online, sometimes your computer will automatically suggest that address in the future when you purchase a product. So we want to have address auto completion because this will make out checkout even faster for the customer, again making it a little bit easier for them to buy your product. After an order has been paid, I do not automatically fulfill the order's line items. That's something I manually do. And then after order has been fulfilled and paid, automatically archive that order, and I'll leave that checked as well. For email marketing, so we're going to talk a lot about email marketing later in the Omnisend section of this course. Email marketing is one of the main pillars of marketing next to Facebook marketing, SEO, social media marketing, and then of course email marketing. Those are probably the main types of marketing. So email marketing is all dependent on having the customer's emails. That's why getting a customer's email is so important, getting them to subscribe. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later as well, but we really want their emails. So email marketing, let customers sign up for marketing emails at checkout. I'm going to actually pre-select this. That means we're going to automatically have people so usually when people check out, there's going to be a box that says, would you like, check this box if you would like to receive promotions in the future. Well, we're going to pre-select that box for them, but they can still unselect it. But hopefully they may not even notice that it's checked, and in the future we're going to have their emails and we're going to be allowed to send them promotional emails and things like that. But again, they have the option of unchecking it. We're just going to take it one step further and check it for them as a default so that they're more likely to accept our promotional emails in the future. Abandoned checkout emails. So I'm going to click automatically send abandoned checkout emails. So what is abandoned checkout emails? That's when someone adds a product into their shopping cart. They go through the initial stages of checking out, and at the very, very, very end of checkout, they decide, you know what, I'm not going to purchase this item. And honestly, that happens all the time. When I always add products to my shopping cart, and I think I'm going to buy it, and then at the very end, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to buy this another day, or I'm not going to buy this at all. So it happens all the time. So what an auto abandoned checkout email does is when that situation occurs and people leaves your website without buying that product, they just leave the product in their abandoned cart, basically abandoning that cart. They will get an automatic email sent to them, X amount of hours later, letting them know, hey, you left your product in the shopping cart. Are you sure you don't want to buy it? And sometimes in that email, you can even attach a discount code. Come back and buy it, and we'll use this 15% off discount. And that basically gets people to come back and buy, because what we know is that that person is a hot lead, right? They had some intentions in buying it, but at the last second, they decided not to. They're more likely to buy that product if we remind them about it than trying to acquire a new customer. So that is why abandoned cart checkout emails are so important. It's usually called abandoned cart emails or abandoned checkout emails. Send to anyone who abandons checkout. Make sure I would recommend clicking this, and then it is really up to you when you want that abandoned checkout email to be sent. I just leave it as a default 10 hours. I think psychologically that makes sense. If you send it too close, then people are going to kind of still be thinking the same thing that they thought when they abandoned it, right? They're like, I don't really want to buy it. But if you come back to them 10 hours later, 20, even 24 hours later, they may have a different mindset, and they may kind of reset that mindset, and then they might be more likely to buy. So then you're going to click save. I want to also point out, if we go back to our settings, if we go to notifications, so for the abandoned checkout email, which is again automatically sent to them when they abandon their shopping cart, we can actually customize that email. So you can look here, there's a lot of different emails and notifications that we can send to the customers. Abandoned. So this is where you click abandon checkout. So you can actually edit it, but I would suggest you not edit it because it's already well written. And number two, you have to be familiar with HTML coding to be able to edit it. As you can see, this is not just your basic kind of email format, right? So if I were you, I would not mess with this just because if you're not familiar, you might screw it up. Instead though, what you can do is go here. This is a customized button that will apply to all the different types of email notifications, right? And what you could do in here is you can add a logo, right? To build branding, right? Build branding awareness. So if you maybe, I don't know, your company is called XYZ t-shirts, then you can add in your logo and that logo will show up in all of the emails sent to the customers and that will make your emails look more professional, right? So I'm going to do that real quick. And then you could also change the color, the accent color of your email. So right now this is blue, right? You could change it to yellow, orange, red. Again, that's just for brand familiarity, brand awareness. You always want to build your brand, right? Because the bigger your brand is, the more loyalty you are going to have from your customers to your brand. So the reason I said don't actually edit the email itself is because look at this. The email looks pretty professional, right? This is just an example of a confirmation email, right? Once someone who purchases the email will look something like this. But customizations you make on the customized page, which we're on right now, will apply to all the emails. So I'm just going to add a quick logo. Obviously, this is not a logo I actually use for my store, but I just wanted to throw something in there. It's just a logo for Kevin Princeton. And then if I want, I can also change this to, let's say my main color of my brand is like, I don't know, orange. So I change it to, actually, I'll just do red because it looks easier. I'll change it to red. I'll click save. And to be able to see a preview of it, you're going to have to go back out and then kind of refresh and then kind of go back into the page, right? Oops, sorry. You're going to go back in and you're going to see those changes, right? So now you can have a big logo, right? You have the color red and it's going to match your branding, right? So you could also adjust the size of the logo. So if I change this to 150 and I click save, it's going to become smaller. But again, you have to go out and then you have to go back in. Say it's a little bit smaller, a little bit more appropriate. So it's really up to you. So again, that's the checkout settings. Hopefully that was helpful and I'll see you guys on the next video. Hey guys, in this video, I'm finally going to talk about sales taxes. I've been getting lots of questions about this. A lot of my students are confused and overwhelmed by, trying to set up their sales taxes and the settings on their Shopify dashboard. But please don't worry. This video is going to shed a lot of light on this so that you don't have to be concerned about this. So you don't have to be overwhelmed about this. All right, guys. So just kind of follow these steps and you guys are going to be okay. It's actually not that much work. At the beginning, especially when you first start your business, you won't have to worry about this too much, if not at all, depending on where you live. So just, keep that in mind. And once you start making lots of money and this does apply to you, you'll have so much money you can just hire an accountant. So again, this is not a big deal. Don't get freaked out. I also want to point out that while pretty much everyone in the world that makes an income, whether through their job or through selling things, does have to pay some kind of taxes to their government. This video only applies to people who are selling to US customers. Whether you yourself live in the US or maybe you live outside the US, like in Europe, UK, Australia, it doesn't matter. If you plan on selling to customers who live in the US, then you need to watch this video, okay? And this video is going to apply to you. Unfortunately, I don't have as much experience with how sales taxes and sales tax laws work in other countries, so I cannot really provide recommendations on that because like I mentioned in the past, I live in California and I sell to US customers for the most part, predominantly mostly US customers, so I don't really, think about a lot of the other countries. So just wanted to say that up front because I know I'm going to get students who are going to email me and say, hey, I live in New Zealand or I live in Iceland and can you please help me with my sales taxes? Before you send that to me, just understand the answer is going to be no. I cannot help you because I don't have enough experience and I don't want to give you wrong information. So, but again, if you're trying to sell to the US and you're going to have US customers, then please continue watching this video. The first thing you're going to do, while I was trying to do a lot of research to create this lecture video for you, I came across this YouTube video that was just so amazing that I really want you guys to watch it. It's going to give you a nice baseline understanding of sales taxes. It does also talk a little bit about income tax, but for the most part, please focus on the sales taxes, because chances are if you've ever had a job and you have a wage, you make wages, or you have some kind of income, you've already paid income tax, right, to your government. So I'm not really worried about you knowing how to do that. Either you do it, your parents do it, or your accountant does it for you on an annual basis or whatever. For sales taxes, however, this is not something you would have paid the government in the past, because people only pay sales tax when they have a business and they make sales. So sales taxes will be new to you if this is the first time you have a business. So please watch this YouTube video. I've attached a link to the resources of this lecture. Please click that link. It should say something like YouTube link. Please click that, and it will bring you to a page that looks like this. There should be a girl that looks like this on the YouTube video. It is 12 minutes long, but it's going to be really, really important that you watch this. This is going to really help you kind of understand taxes, and you're not going to be so overwhelmed after you watch it, okay? And it's going to give you a lot of good baseline knowledge. So please pause the video right now and watch it. And when you're done, come back to this video. Now that you've finished watching the YouTube video, I just want to do a little bit of a summary of what the video said so that we can be, on the same page. First off, Shopify does not automatically collect sales taxes for you. You have to set it up yourself. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Secondly, you must collect sales taxes from customers in every state where you have a physical or economic nexus, right? And I'm going to explain to you what a nexus is in just a second, but I just want to repeat this bullet point. You have to collect sales taxes from customers in every state where you also have a nexus there. So for example, I have a nexus in California. So every time I make a sale to a customer who is also in California, I have to collect sales taxes from that California customer, okay? So your question is probably, where do I have a nexus then? Either a physical or economic nexus. Those are going to be the two terms that you hear a lot. It doesn't matter if you have a physical or economic nexus. A nexus is a nexus, okay? They just kind of use both of those terms because sometimes, depending on where you live physically, it will determine if you have a nexus. And sometimes, depending on your sales and your revenue, it will determine if you have an economic nexus. But again, if you have any kind of nexus, whether it's physical or economic, in a state, you have to collect sales tax from customers every time you make a sale to a customer who is also in that state. So to answer your question, where do I have a nexus? Where do you have a nexus? If your company has a physical location, even if it's your bedroom, you have a nexus in that state. So for example, I live in California, but say when I first started, I worked out of my bedroom off my laptop. But because I live in California, I have a nexus in California, and I have to collect sales taxes every time I make a sale to a customer who also lives in California. If they lived in Arizona, then I wouldn't have to collect sales taxes because I didn't have a nexus in Arizona. I only have a nexus in California. Criteria number 2, if you happen to have employees that live, maybe there's an employee that does all your Facebook ads or does your fulfillment, and he lives in Texas, then you automatically also have a nexus in Texas. So even though I live in California, if I have workers who live in Texas, I'm going to have a nexus in both California and in Texas. Number 3, states where you make a certain amount of sales above a particular threshold in either dollars or transactions. And this threshold, this criteria for a nexus will be different for every single state. And that's why it gets a little bit confusing. So what I've done is I've actually added a link that shows you the criteria or the threshold in either dollars or transactions for every single state. And once you meet that threshold, you now have an economic nexus in that state. So if you click that link, it should be in the attached resources. It should bring you to a page that looks something like this, Economic Nexus State Guide. And on the left side, you'll see all the different states, right? And I want to focus your attention to this column right here, the threshold column. So let's say you sell to US customers in every single state, but you happen, for whatever reason, you sell the best in Alabama and you make $250,000 in revenue just from Alabama. Once you hit that 250,000, you now have a nexus in Alabama, and you are responsible to have a sales tax permit in every state that you have a nexus. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But to continue on, I want to give you another example. In Arkansas, if you make 100,000 or you make 200 or plus transactions a year, then you have a nexus in Arkansas. So sometimes it's the total revenue you make per year, and sometimes it's the total transactions. But chances are, if anything, you'll probably hit the transactions before you ever hit the revenue, because the revenue is actually, even if you did 200 transactions, you probably won't even be close to 100,000. So you'll generally hit the transaction threshold before you hit the revenue threshold. But states like California don't even have a transaction threshold. They only have a revenue threshold. So in California, to have a nexus here, you'll meet the threshold for a nexus in California when you make $500,000 in sales to California customers, and then just keep looking on through all of them. So now that we understand when you have a nexus in a state and that you have to pay sales taxes for every state that you have a nexus in, what do you need to actually be concerned about to start your business? So I've broken this slide and the next slide into what you need to worry about now and what you need to worry about down the road. So let's focus on what you need to worry about now. If you are a US seller, meaning you live in the US like I do, I live in California, you will have a nexus where you live, just like I have a nexus in California. Automatically, before you even sell one item, you already have a nexus in that state. Therefore, you're gonna have to apply for a sales tax permit in your state that you reside in. Then you're gonna turn on Shopify to collect sales taxes in your state only. And this is all you have to do for now, okay? So every state that you have a nexus in, you also have to apply for a sales tax permit in that state so that you can start collecting sales taxes from your customers every time you make a sale to a customer that also lives in that same state. For non-US sellers, for example, let's say you live in Australia, but you sell to US customers. Right now, before you've made any sales, you don't need to worry about any sales tax permit or collecting any sales tax yet, okay? So you're a little bit easier for you guys. Now let's think about what will happen down the road. Let's say for a second, hypothetically, you start your business and you start making hundreds of thousands of dollars and thousands of transactions. Then these are a couple things that you need to worry about. But if you're not there yet, then you don't really need to worry about this. But for those of you who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars and hundreds of transactions, whether you live in the US or you live outside the US, if your Shopify store becomes very successful later on and you end up meeting the criteria or threshold for a nexus in any particular state, again, I've already attached the link, you will be responsible to get a sales tax permit for that state and start collecting sales taxes every time you make a sale to a customer who is also from that state, okay? You can't collect sales taxes from customers who live in every single state, only the states that you have a nexus in and when the customer is also residing in that state. And you will automatically know that because when they fill out their information during checkout, you will capture that information because you'll have their address. But this may lead to, depending on how much money you meet and how many states you meet the threshold in, you may have 2, 3, 4, 5 nexuses, especially if you're very, very successful. But remember, at that point in time, you'll be making so much money that you could just hire an accountant. So it's pretty much a moot point, right? So there's not really much to worry about. The only thing you really have to worry about is at the very, very beginning, meaning if you live in the US and you plan to sell to US customers, then you have to get a sales tax permit for your state, okay? But you could actually start selling even before your tax permit comes in and then just add in your tax ID later. And I'll show you how to do all that on Shopify in just a second. But if all this is just too confusing, too overwhelming, then you have a couple options. You can just hire an accountant right off the bat, especially for those of you who might have a little bit more startup capital, you have some money to use, then you just hire an accountant. For me, my accountant only costs $250 a month, very, very cheap. Although I would say on average, accountants cost anywhere between 350 and 400, at least here in the United States. You can also go to experts.shopify.com. There's a lot of freelancers on there. There are some resources for getting sales tax guidance, but there's not that much on there. But I wanted to throw that resource in there just in case, just so that you know about it. The third one is the TaxJar Shopify app. While I was doing research to create this video, there were so many people that were recommending the TaxJar app, especially a lot of the people on YouTube talking about sales taxes for Shopify. They all recommend this TaxJar app. Please keep in mind, I have never used this app. And when I looked up the reviews on the Shopify App Store, they were a little bit mixed. But again, this is the app that everyone recommends for sales taxes on Shopify because it's pretty much one of the only apps out there that helps with sales taxes on Shopify. So maybe that's why everyone recommends it, even though it doesn't really have good reviews. And then Avalara, this is kind of a full service agency that can help you with your sales taxes and pretty much everything that pertains to your taxes with your Shopify business. I have seen Shopify recommend this company a couple times, but when I looked them up, the reviews were very, very, very poor. So, take it with a grain of salt. But if I were you guys, I would just hire an accountant after you start making, some money so that you can use that money to hire that accountant. Like I mentioned, even though let's say you live in Texas and you're going to have to get a sales tax permit here in Texas, and you're going to have to collect sales taxes from customers who are also from Texas, you can technically start selling and making money and collecting sales taxes before you get your full permit and your tax permit ID. You could always input your tax permit ID after the fact, okay? And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And last but not least, please notify me if any of these links are ever broken or they don't work. I want to make sure that you can access all these resources that I'm trying to share with you. They're very, very helpful. I forgot to mention earlier when I said you have to sign up for a sales tax permit. I've added a link in the attached resources that show you how to sign up for a sales tax permit in pretty much every country, every state. So if you click that link, it should bring you to a page that looks like this, right? How to register for a sales tax permit in every single state. It's super valuable information. For example, if I go to California, I can click it, and if I scroll down, there you have a link right here that shows you where I have to go, what government website I have to go to apply for that sales tax permit. And it leads me here where I can register for that sales tax permit. Some states, you can get a tax permit for free. Some states have a small fee for it. Just be aware of that as well. Okay, right now I'm going to switch over to the Shopify dashboard. I'm going to show you how to set up your sales taxes even before you have your sales tax permit. So give me 1 second. So the first thing you're going to do is go to your Shopify settings here at the bottom left. Then you're going to click taxes right here. Then you're going to click here, United States sales tax, and you're going to click set up, okay? And then here you'll see sales tax collection. You're not collecting sales tax in any state at the moment. So what we're gonna do, it says you've added a location in California, which is the location I use for my Shopify, or at least the Shopify membership. It says if you have a nexus in this state, which we do because we live here, you might need to start collecting sales tax there, which we know from basically what we just learned and what I reviewed. So I need to, first, what I wanna do is, I want to start collecting sales tax right away if you're starting to sell, right? Just turn it on, even if you don't yet have your sales tax permit, turn on the collection of sales taxes because if you know you're going to start selling and you're going to be making money, you want to start collecting sales taxes now because later on when that permit comes in and you have to report and pay all your taxes to the government at the end of the year, they don't care if your sales tax permit didn't come in yet. They're going to calculate how much revenue you made the entire year, even before you got your sales tax permit, and they're going to calculate how much you owe them based off all of your revenue. So you want to collect your sales taxes now, turn it on, and then later on, you just input your tax ID. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to click collect sales taxes, I'm going to choose my state. And then here, after you get your sales tax ID permit, you would enter it here. If you already have it, then please enter it. But it says, if you don't have your sales tax ID yet, you can enter it later. And then you just say collect sales taxes. All right. And then boom, if I go back now and I go here, if I go back into United States and click manage, you'll see that it says Sales tax collection. You're collecting sales tax in one state in the US, which is California. And as a reminder, you have to collect sales tax from customers for every state that you have a nexus in. And again, every state that you have a nexus in, you have to have a sales tax permit. But you only collect sales tax when the customer is also from the same state that you have a nexus and sales tax permit from. Also, I want to point out that when you go to products, every time you add a product, let me go into this product here. Make sure, where is it? Oh, it's not here, but make sure that you're collecting sales taxes for all of your items. When you first add it, there should be a little link. There should be a little box that says collect sales tax for this product. I believe it's automatically already checked. I can't find it. Actually, let me add a new product. So, here. So when you add a new product, if you scroll down to the bottom, it says charge sales tax on this product, okay? Or charge tax on this product. So always make sure this is clicked, all right? And then, and I think Shopify, depending on where the customer's address is, will automatically collect sales tax from the customer if they are in a state that you have a nexus and sales tax permit from as well, or in your settings, you have it set up to collect sales tax in that state. All right, sorry for kind of rambling. I'm trying to learn all this on my own because I set this up a long time ago and my accountant pretty much deals with all this for me. So hopefully that all made sense. I'm trying to get my accountant to come on to do a video for you guys as well, but he's been kind of busy. But hopefully that helped and kind of eased your concerns about sales taxes. As you can see, if you, at least right now when you're starting off, if you live outside the United States then you don't even need to worry about anything. Right? You have no nexus. You don't need to apply for any sales tax permit until you start making lots and lots and lots of money, but that's going to be really far down the road. If you live in the US, then you automatically have a nexus in whatever state that you live in, and you have to get a sales tax permit for that state and then add that state into your tax settings right here. But besides that, you're probably only going to have that one nexus, right? You don't really have to worry about a second nexus or applying for another sales tax permit until you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. So hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video. Hey guys, in this video, I want to quickly talk about location settings. And while location settings are not as important for dropshipping as it would be for traditional e-commerce, it is still important, so I just want to quickly talk about it. So to go to your location settings, you're going to click settings here at the bottom left. It should bring you to a page that looks like this. Then you're going to click locations right here. So generally, the location is going to help calculate two things: your shipping costs, right? And then also your sales taxes in certain cases, depending on where you live. We're not going to care so much about calculating shipping because we're drop shipping. So we're not going to actually be fulfilling any physical products. We're not going to really have to calculate, how much it costs to ship something from your warehouse or fulfillment center to the customer's house, right? Because we're drop shipping, our third party dropshipping vendor, which is mostly going to be AliExpress.com, is going to take care of all that shipping. So we really only care about locations for the sake of sales tax, but we'll talk a little bit more about sales tax in another video. But the point of this video is that you want an accurate location. And chances are when you signed up for Shopify or your Shopify membership, you had to add in some kind of address to sign up for Shopify, right? Well, the location you add here is going to take dominance over the address you used when you signed up for Shopify. So if the two addresses are different, just understand that this location right here that we're going to edit right now is going to take priority. So we're going to click this, and all you're going to do is at the bottom type in your address. If you're working out of your home, then you're going to use your home address. If you happen to be fortunate to have an office space or a workspace somewhere else that's not your home, then you want to use that address, right? And then you want to type in your phone number at the bottom. And at the top, you can really name this location whatever you want. You can name it home address, workspace. You can name it main address. I'm just going to call it main address. It doesn't really matter that much. And then you're just going to click save. And that's all you have to do to worry about your location settings. See you on the next video.